Well, beautiful. I just appreciate you guys all for being here on this Tuesday before Thanksgiving. It's a strange week, but a good week. I think, relative to where we're at and the community at Open We Stand, a lot of people are going to have this moment of reflection this week, kind of mirrored and sandwiched in between what they did so far this year and what they can get done before the end of the year. And that reflective period is going to be important for them to see that there is still availability for people to strategize and work with them and be creative. And so I just want to thank you guys for participating, first of all. And Nicole, I want to thank you for being our special guest today. I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves first on the call today, and then we'll get to you as the guest of honor, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I'll introduce myself first. My name's Adam. I am the co-founder of Clarify, which is a tech communication platform, and I am your moderator today.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Graziano. I am on the brand social media team. So I handle everything from engagements to building response strategies and tracking and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, I am Jesse Wilson. I am a community manager at GoDaddy, and I do day-to-day work in our community forums, inclusive of interacting with customers and as well doing back-end fix it, change it type stuff.
And I am Nicole Hanusek. My company is Smack Happy Design. We do web design and digital marketing.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I love the name. I got to start that. I love the name Smack Happy Design because it just automatically is just so opportunistic and positive. And I want to know how you came up with that.
Sure. So back when I still had my full-time job, I was thinking, I was freelancing and I wanted to go freelance full-time. So I needed to be legit. And I was trying to come up with a name, and it's hard because, it has to be available as a domain name, has to be easy to spell. So I was thinking about it for like a month, and my coworker, who would often annoy me, was annoying me yet once again. And I thought, oh, I'm going to go Smack Happy on him. And there you have it.
A brand born out of annoyance. That's new.
Yeah. But some people have actually contacted me because the name stood out. So it's worked pretty well. And I do think that the team is really positive. So it does carry the vibe that you're feeling.
I mean, it's obviously it stands out. I love the fact that you mentioned that you started this after kind of mulling it over, because a lot of people think that the idea strikes you and you just know what you want and you move with it, and you move with a passion, and the storm follows behind you. And that's not true for all of us. Some of us get caught up in the details, and we get caught up in the things that we need to really feel empowered by. And you coming up with your name is obviously led to a positive effect, and you building a team. Tell us a little bit about the transition of how you started. I think you said you started back in 2008, right in the middle of the financial crisis.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. I kind of want to start at the beginning. My very first job was at a web consulting company. And so I would have like a variety of projects to work on, which I really enjoyed, like having to always switch and learn about new companies. And then when I moved out to the Bay Area, I ended up at Alexa Internet. I was there for 2.5 years, and I was working on the same stuff, and I wasn't used to that, and it was a little boring to me. And then I tried working at a startup and realized that startup life is absolutely not for me. Like the pressure and the heavy hours, and I just didn't enjoy that at all. So I was just compelled to give it a shot. And, it was scary to take that leap and do freelance full time. So I said to my husband, look, give me 3 months. And if it's not working, I will go and try to find another job. And honestly, I didn't give a lot of thought to the fact that the financial crisis was happening at the time. I didn't really let that sway me from making the decision or anything. what I did was I crafted an email that I sent to every single person that I knew or sort of knew, even acquaintances, and I explained exactly what I do and how to introduce me. And it kind of took off from there.
No, that's awesome. I love the fact that you said you didn't even think about the financial crisis happening. Because in life, there are moments that matter. And if they matter enough, the rest of it's just noise. I can align with what you did because I actually started my entrepreneurial journey in 2008. And when I made the jump, it was in the beginning of 2008, and I was ready to be broke. So when the rest of the world fell behind, and joined me, trying to build and create something new, it felt like karma, like good karma.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel that that's kind of what's coming from your story. Were you alone in the beginning when you made this decision, or was it just you and your husband, or did you have like a coach or anybody that you worked with?
So it was just me and my husband. And what I did was I read a lot of articles and books about freelancing and how to really take off with freelancing, because I had also tried freelancing several years earlier and it didn't work so well. And after reading the articles the second time around, I know why it didn't work so well. A couple of key things that were important for me specifically, like I was working from home, so I had to set hours for myself. I had to say, okay, I am not doing dishes or laundry between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. So, I had to set those boundaries. And then it was also, trying to find new work. That first time around, I had no idea how to try to find new work. So I wasn't really trying anything, honestly, because I was so naive. But that second time around, I had sent that email out, and that just led from person to person to person, just recommending me for work. And, my business now is like 75% word of mouth. So it's just continued on that same path this entire time.
No, I think it's important to know that. I mean, you started your journey in 2008 and you went to build, and knowing that you tried before and failed is also empowering to us. Just hearing that, because we're all human. I'm sure we've all tried so many things in our lives, and sometimes it works really well, sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. And it's moments that matter that really get you to where you're going. I love that you came up and said that you had to create time for your business because you were at home, because that's what so many people are doing right now. They are at home and they are having to figure out, how do I set boundaries and set times? And there's a position there that's delicate, because how do you position yourself as, this is more important than what's going on in the other room, which might be my family or something else? And that leads into part two of what you said, which is you have to consistently be going after more business, after new clients. If you're building, it's important to continue the pipeline, because as your efforts work, they compound. And so having the curiosity to start a business is one thing, but having the obligation to set your boundaries, like what you did, and make sure that that priority led and fed into what your passion is, which is your family, and feeding them and taking care of them. You built an awesome brand, and it's empowering.
Thank you.
Were you always confident? I want to kind of hear about that. Were you always confident as an entrepreneur and an artist?
Looking back, now that you've asked this question, I haven't really thought about that, but I guess I was. Like I said, that I didn't really think about the fact that it was 2008 and this financial crisis was happening. I guess I was just confident enough that I know what I'm doing. I'm really good at it, and the work will come. So I guess there definitely is like a certain amount of confidence there, for sure.
I mean, if you know your trade, you've got some skill sets behind it. It's okay to be confident.
Yeah.
I asked because.
Can I ask a question quickly?
Sure.
Do you mind? I'm so sorry, but I couldn't help but think, you did it again. You freelanced and then it didn't work out, and then time went by and you did it again. And I am so floored by that, or so curious by that, because I feel like you definitely gave it a good, you gave it a good effort, right? What made you go back to that? What made because the confidence totally speaks to it, right? You're capable, you're able to do this work, but what made you want to go try it again? Like, I'm someone who, if I fail at something, if I like try something, really put myself out there and it doesn't work out, I'm resilient, but it takes me a little while. It takes me a little bit to kind of lick my wounds. How did you reframe your efforts for your second time around?
That's a good question. I think at the heart of it all, I just had this calling to do my own thing. That must be part of like why I wanted to do it so badly, because I had done the freelance. I tried to do it that first time around, and I was still doing like little bits of freelancing here and there. Like I couldn't let it go. And so I think it just kept calling me to want to do my own thing. And as I was doing it, I was getting more and more clients, and I eventually got to a point where I just had too much work and I couldn't handle it all. So at that point, I did hire a coach. I hired a business coach, and she just turned my world upside down. And I had to shift from being a freelancer to being a business owner. And what I learned in that process is that I actually really love being in charge and being the leader, and, planning and organizing all the processes and doing all the admin work. And I even got used to networking and doing all of the people stuff, which is not natural for me. I'm an introvert. So it was quite the transformation. And so that also, like, that calling to do my own thing is also like, I have a calling to be this leader, and I had to redefine what it meant to me, because when I was young, I was called bossy, because, girls are bossy and, it's a bad thing. And so I had to redefine what that meant for me to be bossy and like embrace it.
Yeah, I'm just going to be the boss.
Yeah. And
Fabulous.
that doesn't mean I'm going to, be a dictator and just tell you what to do in a mean way. Like,
Exactly.
I can do it gently, and I can, I can also listen. And, there are many ways to define that.
How cool. Thank you. That was great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's creativity in the way you communicate, regardless of if it's with a client or with your colleagues in your team. And Jonathan, I want to thank you for asking that question, because that's exactly what I wanted to know. I mean, you seem so confident, Nicole. You seem confident in what you do, in your brand, in your position, and in obviously your calling. And so knowing that you tried and failed and tried again just speaks to that confidence. It's okay to find out what doesn't work, step back, take a look, reinvent yourself, and push back. And I think a lot of people are going to be doing that, especially right now. I was looking at your website, and your little biographical sentence at the top, it just makes you sound confident, and I love it, because it's kind of nerdy Game of Thrones-ish. I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yes, the name I've been given. I forget what it. Do you have it pulled up?
I do. It says, "This is Nikki Stormborn of the House Smack Happy, first of her name, custom coded, queen of the designs and first website, breaker of rules, the great list of typos, and mother of puppies." So obviously, you've got some creativity and confidence built into there, and I love that. So tell us a little bit about what it's like to kind of nerd out on your passion and what your calling at is.
Sure. So when I was pretty young, excuse me, like in 7th grade, I did this Little Mermaid drawing, and it turned out really well. And so from then on, I decided I wanted to be an artist. And so all throughout high school, I was like, art classes. And then I went to an art college. I went to the Cleveland Institute of Art. And at the time, there were no web design classes yet. That's how early it was. But I ended up at the company I mentioned with the web consulting while I was still in college in 1998. And the first day on the job, the art director was like, "Here, hand me this huge book, learn HTML." Like, okay. So I come from an artistic background. So the art, the design is really important to me, and the quality of it and the uniqueness, and, really making something that speaks to the client and captures who the client is. And so because I've got the art background and because I started in 1998, so I can do the design and I can also do the code. So I also have that kind of logical part of the brain. Like coding speaks to the scientific love that I have. And I also tie in like usability. I remember learning a lot about usability early on too. So with the usability and the design, those two things are huge for like the core values for our business. And then the third thing is just helping people. Really love helping people. So the whole team, like everyone on the team, kind of has that foundation, and that's where we come from.
And that's awesome. I think that that's so important for people to know. Number one, that you can be creative and you can have a desire to do something, and then go and learn the pieces that are missing to help build you into the entrepreneur you want to be. And then the other thing is like what you've done, and where so many people are right now, is they're in a reflective space and they want to push forward and do something different or reinvent themselves. And looking back at your history, your experiences, your interactions, the way that you've met with your clients, those all built up and led you to where you're at and gave you the skill set you have. So it's okay to look back and reflect on, what made us who we are. Looking at some of the advice you've already given, which is, setting aside some time, first and foremost, putting boundaries at home. And then number two, always looking to market yourself and build your brand. As somebody that's going to look back on their experiences, is there any advice that you give new entrepreneurs that are coming out, that they could maybe leverage some of those skill sets, or the people that they know that embody what's missing from their skill sets?
Sure. I think one of the fun things that's happened is saying yes to stuff. For example, I'm here because of GoDaddy today, because I said yes to something years and years ago that has led to like many interesting things. So if something comes your way and it sounds scary or you're really nervous about it, all the more reason to say yes, as long as it's not something that could harm you, of course. But like if it's scary and it's going to take you out of your comfort zone, say yes to it and just see what happens, because you never know where it's going to lead you. I would also say, as an entrepreneur, one of the things that I avoided a lot in the beginning was networking and just meeting with people, because I was an introvert. And if you can find the right networking group or right situation, you can kind of, get used to it and learn how to do it, and it'll start to become more natural. But for me as an introvert, that was like so hard to do. I ended up joining a BNI, and what I liked about BNI was that it was very structured. So like you're networking, like you're told how to do the networking. And that worked really well for me as someone who was like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But yeah, that's one of the great ways to really get your name out there, is to network.
What's a BNI?
Business Networking International. There are chapters like all over the world.
Oh, interesting.
Actually. Yeah. In San Francisco, I think there are like 30 different chapters. Every big city has multiple chapters.
Hey, Adam, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump in. Hey, sorry I was late, you guys. I was having computer issues, but Nicole, hi.
Hi.
And just I'm loving listening to what you're saying. First of all, like kudos to you for having done a coach. That's even like I've done that, and that really puts you out of your comfort zone, because they challenge you on a lot of stuff. So like that's really cool that you did that, and that you found that you like to be a leader. I think that is really, really neat. And then the other thing about you talking about being an introvert and pushing past your comfort zone and doing networking, I think that, a lot of people assume, even for extroverts, that, like everybody loves to network. Like you should just go network. And it's hard, it's hard. And especially if you're tired or you got other stuff going on. But I've always said that the networking piece of life in general does lead you to other things and opens other doors. And so like really pushing yourself to do that kind of stuff is super important. Because you never know what that one relationship is what's gonna come out of that one relationship that you would have never expected. The other thing, I really like your thing about saying yes to things that are potentially scary, because I think a lot of people don't do that. And my thing is like, if you see a door open, like try to walk through the door if possible, because it really can lead you to things that you would never have imagined that could be the coolest thing ever. So I'm so excited to hear, your thoughts on all of this. And Nicole and I live in the same town, so it's great to see you. And then the other thing, BNI, a lot of GoDaddy customers are part of that organization, and I just hear so much good stuff about it. The local chapters and how you guys get to know other people that don't necessarily do the same thing that you do. But that you guys learn and exchange a lot of information. So now I'm going to shut up.
Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, that is one of the neat things about BNI. So in each chapter, you can only have one person in a specific profession. So like I would be the web design person, and then I meet like an insurance person or a hairstylist or a massage therapist. And so you are getting exposure to more different businesses than you would normally. And it also has the structure that just helps you get to know each other better. So like if you want to try networking, give a BNI a shot. It is very, you need to dedicate a lot of time to it. But there are lots of different flavors of networking groups out there. And if the first one doesn't work, that doesn't mean networking isn't for you. It just means that that group isn't the right one.
It's been so cool to hear how intelligent you've been about this whole process. I feel like we've every entrepreneur has, obviously has their different way to go about, making their own path and making things come to fruition. But it's so interesting to listen to you talk about the ways that you recognize things within you that you wanted to change, even for the sake of your business. You go, I'm an introvert and I have to figure out a way to network with people because I know that is something that I have to do as a freelancer turning into a small business owner. And knowing that you went and you joined your local chapter, and then recognizing I'm now leading I've got a lot of work and I need to bring people on. How do I do this? I'm going to reach out to a coach. I have these resources available to me, and I'm going to set myself up to succeed in these sort of, amorphous situations that we don't have fully figured out yet. It's been very cool to listen how every step, especially as an artist, right? Especially as someone whose work is so based on your intuition and what you know about yourself and what you trust about yourself, because there's so much about, I'm very extroverted, but I also have I have not suffered like a lot of people have during this time. Like I am very fine to sit on my butt and watch TV and watch movies and be by myself for a very long time. I get my energy that way. But it is so interesting to hear like you as someone, as an artist who is so focused on your intuition and what just feels right and what would be right for a client. And then how you've also acknowledged those parts of yourself that you wanted to build on and grow. And you've been so smart about this. And it's been very, I talk to people all the time on our social media channels. And I genuinely feel like I have a lot that I can take away from this conversation about, even if they say, I'm starting a business, what do I do? Obviously I can drive them, GoDaddy, like GoDaddy's here for you. But I didn't know anything about these. How great to tell people, yes, you can look at local chapters. Yes, why don't you even think about a coach? Why don't, like, these things that I wouldn't have thought of previously. So this, you really gave me some fodder to work with. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is all fantastic. You've got great shares, great perspective. Basically, I just want to thank you, first of all, Nicole, for bringing up the fact that it's okay to fail and start again, and it's okay to set boundaries, but you just went so much further beyond that. For people that are leading themselves to recreate and reinvent themselves over this next couple of months before the new year starts, they're going to have fears that are going to lead them to second guess before they even start. So giving them the okay to try and fail is empowering, but then telling them practical and tactical information like what you just did, which is find a community, find a connected group, leverage the community because they're going to help you reflect upon yourself and build what you need and what you're missing. I mean, that's so powerful. That's so powerful to know, just like this community we're in right here with the Open We Stand movement. I mean, these meetups have been so powerful for me anyways. I mean, to just see people like you creating such amazing business enterprises and brands, and you are elevating the next generation of entrepreneurs that are starting their journey. So thank you for that. And again, thank you for reminding people that it's okay to say yes.
Yeah, it really does lead to a lot of amazing things. I can't express that enough. I can't remember exactly how the connection with GoDaddy started, but I think it had to have been something about getting feedback on some UI that GoDaddy was working on, and it led to like this pro council, and it led to many cool events, and it's led to this interview here today. So you just really never know, and sometimes it's some really fun, cool stuff.
I remember first meeting, I had talked to Nicole, and then I met Nicole down in her Sunnyvale office. And yeah, it's been really cool, Nicole. I think it's been, God, at least 3 years, maybe even longer. But the real power that I like in the group that's Nicole's participated in is that these guys have gotten to know each other, and a lot of them work on projects together, have become friends. Sometimes if a client comes their way and it's not right for their business, they pass the person on or recommend somebody else that they know. And that's community. That's pure play community of, people getting to know each other and just sharing. And especially in really challenging times, it's nice to know that you have this group of friends that can support you. And because everybody's had their ups and downs, and in business everybody has their ups and downs, and so it's just great to have that. So that's our goal. Our, as in GoDaddy, is to connect people together, and you guys get to know each other and stuff and share.
Yeah, that is exactly why I started seeking out networking to begin with, was so I could speak to other business people who were going through the same thing, who might have been going through trouble. And I'm like, I have no idea what to do in this situation. So I wanted to find like-minded people that I could, trust and talk to and ask for advice. And Jonathan, you had hit it spot on. Like, I started BNI as a freelancer, and I ended, as a business owner, because I found my business coach through BNI. So yeah, it's definitely helpful to have, like-minded people that you can count on or reach out to who might be going through the same thing.
And the last thing I'll say, and I love this, is I think it also speaks so much to like your ego and the way that you recognize, like, these are parts of me that I want to develop. These are parts of me. This is a strength that I want to have. This is something that I want to, some department of my business or personal, my personal life that I want to grow in. And to be able to recognize that about yourself and to seek that training, I think is something that a lot of people might avoid, or might be very difficult for some people to, jump in on. And I think it's only benefited you, and has been really, really great to listen to.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it. I mean, everything that's been said here today is it's so positive and so empowering. I have to go back to just being thankful for the opportunity to have these experiences and to create new experiences. Because having the ability to say yes to something is truly amazing in itself. And then, not to be cliche, but the community is kind of like our trust fall. When we put ourselves out there and something's not working right, our community is going to be there to catch us and build us back up and let us know that it's okay to continue on, especially if you're genuine and passionate in what you do. And Nicole, I can tell that Smack Happy Designs has a passion behind it that you've just branded and built through yourself and through your team. And I want to appreciate you for being here today and sharing your journey and your story.
Thank you so much. It feels like I'm on the right path when I hear you say that. You're showing me that, you know, it's actually working. I appreciate that. I love it. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. And I know you've got a big speaking engagement coming up. Is it December 16th?
Yeah, December 16th. I will be talking about how to safely update your WordPress website. You know, every now and then, as an owner of the website, you log in and it says you have to make all these updates. And it's kind of scary to hit that update button sometimes because you're like, oh, what if I break everything? So in this talk, I'm going to teach you how to do that safely and securely.
I love it. I mean, that's just a reflection of you again, right there. You went from having this conversation, which is open and creative and community driven, to now you're going to have a speaking engagement that's technical and in the weeds. And that's awesome that you can be both. And you're such a resource to people. So thank you for that.
Sure, thank you. So yeah, if you want to come to the talk, you can follow me on LinkedIn. I will be posting about the talk there as we get closer to the date. So yeah.
Wonderful. We're going into Thanksgiving. I want to be, respectful of everybody's time today, but I'd love to just hear, what you're thankful for going into this weekend, and then, allow everybody here to share what they're thankful for before we let you guys go.
Sure. I am just very thankful that my business has continued to, go on pretty steady throughout this year. I can't speak enough to how grateful I am for that, because as someone who has employees, I was really worried about making sure that everyone was still employed and safe and secure. So I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. Well, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this and be home with my kids. I mean, that to me is just everything. So I love this. Jesse, do you want to share?
Yeah, I'm thankful for the provision that I have through GoDaddy, and just having a job that, and I know that I'm in a position that a lot of people are not, and that my financial situation has not changed through the course of what's happened with COVID, and just the ability to work from home has been. My family is like my favorite thing in the world. So, and we just had a baby last year. He's just over 1 now. So, being able to be here, like to help my wife, or to if see him take his first steps, and just be able to be present, but also being able to provide for my family is I can't top that. I'm so thankful for that.
That's wonderful. Rachel, do you want to go ahead and share?
Yeah, I was thinking, God, I have a lot to be grateful for. Certainly, family and friends, and this has been obviously for most of us one of the most challenging periods in our life. But at the same time, we're doing what we need to do to hopefully survive and thrive. And so I personally am grateful to work for GoDaddy. They have been incredibly flexible and generous with us, and really allowing us to work from home and making it work. And I work with amazing people. And the other thing is, with my role in community, I love our customers. I love getting to know people like you guys who are running, businesses, and you are what inspires me every day. I mean, I could, we in corporations, we do all sorts of things during the day, but it's really about our customers, because if we didn't have customers, we wouldn't have a company, and we wouldn't have jobs. So just very appreciative of getting to know people like you, Adam, and Nicole, and all the other customers that I've gotten to know, and hopefully we'll get to know in the future, and hearing your stories and just feeling very grateful for that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Jonathan.
I gotta echo a little bit of everyone. I think I'm to Jesse's point. I'm so grateful that I've been employed at a company that has been as transparent as they've been able to be with these really big decisions and have been supportive. I have friends who are actors who have been furloughed, and I have friends with PhDs who have been furloughed, and it's really remarkable to know that. I also, as someone who's never had the big trust in big tech, it's really awesome to know that this is a company that really, really, cares about their people and their customers in a very tangible way. And I guess the only other thing that I'm really grateful for are the people who are working constantly to make things better for us, whether it's the nurses who are working 18-hour shifts, 24-hour shifts, or doctors, or people, community outreach members who are just trying to help people with their businesses. There are a lot of helpers out there, and unsung heroes, and for what it's worth, I'm very grateful for them.
Can I cheat and add on to mine?
Absolutely, totally.
Like Rachel said, she does a lot of things. Like I could also go on and on and on. There are very many things that I'm grateful for. But one that I wanted to add was just my team. Things would be a lot harder without my team. And I really appreciate them too. I want to make sure I give them a shout out.
And I'm also thankful for Noodle.
Yeah. Oh,
what's Noodle?
Okay, I'll show you Noodle real quick. You guys ready? Okay. He has not woken up yet today.
Uh-oh. That's a pooch. Oh.
Hi, Noodle.
Oh, hi, bud.
Oh.
Hey. Oh, he's got all these gunks we've got to clean. Oh, you're all gunky.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've got a 12-year-old pug. He's my
Cute.
and he doesn't wake up. It's 12:41 here. He has not woken up. He has not had breakfast. He has not gone potty. He's a tank. He's just a sweet man. And unfortunately, he's grateful for nothing this year.
He's grateful that you're home all the time now.
Can I tell you, he really is. But I got to bring him to the office with me.
Oh,
I got to take him with me. So he's definitely grateful that I'm home. But I could also, 2 months into it, I could tell he was like, okay, where are these other people? I'm getting kind of sick of you. Where are these other people who would pay me attention? You're getting kind of old. But yeah, I'm also, oh my God, I couldn't be more thankful for him. He's kept me company this entire time and has only listened to me, which has made things so easy.
Nice.
Sweet king. Oh, oh my God, I've got to do your wipes. Oh God.
So what about you, Adam? What are you grateful for?
Aside from being able to work from home with my kids, I'm just grateful to be healthy. I worked with small businesses, and this year's been incredibly difficult, but I just cannot imagine the angst that falls upon the families that have had to deal with health issues and the crisis this year. I mean, just having that topped on top of it is just, it's too much. So I am so just very thankful that I am healthy. And I think that a lot of that goes to not just physically healthy, but mentally and emotionally healthy. And moments like this is what keeps me going and keeps me energized. So I appreciate you guys for being human. I mean, it's so often that we meet someone that seems like a superhero, and having these conversations, you guys are my superheroes and you're human. And I love that. So thank you.
That's awesome. What a great way to put it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Adam.
Now I'll have a good cry before I go back to work.
Every day. That's me every day. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. Like I said, I appreciate you guys coming in today. Nicole, thank you so much for letting us into your world. Everybody should definitely go to smackhappy.com and check out your site, check out your creativity, and connect, because that's the best thing that we can all do right now is connect and collaborate and just be a community.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, you guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.